Yo, what's up everybody, Aiden here. So today in this video, I'm going to show you how I made $7,000 trading stocks. That was more or less what I made in the month of October. I was a bit unlucky not to have a 5-figure month, to be honest with you. I took a couple of trades towards the end of the month. They didn't work out, but they were good setups and I would take them again if they were to appear again. But yeah, I'm going to basically run through the big trades of the month. I think they were all pretty much first green days, I'm pretty sure. No, me probably was. Might have been a multi-day breakout in there, I'm not sure. But if you don't know what a first green day is, please go and watch the video linked in the description below. Okay, let's jump into it. The first one is GLTO, and it had this big run. A big day one move, finishing up 383%. So at its high, it was up a lot more than that. So this is going to have a lot of eyes on it. So if we jump to, I don't think the minute chart will go that far back, but the 3 minute will be. So I'm basically looking for a bounce. After it's had this run. Now I don't particularly normally like day ones like this that have a morning spike and then sort of just fade most of the day. It's not really my thing, but this was just up so much. I did feel it might have some room to bounce. So some of these stocks have been bouncing on day two. So I actually did try it on this day and then just cut. I can't remember exactly how I traded it, probably off this level. And then it wasn't really going anywhere. I can't really remember. But the following day, to be fair, my sister reminded me about this one because she's trading also. You know what? I'll give her a shout out. The Unlikely Trader, her name is on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description below so you can go and follow her. She's relatively new to trading. She's only been trading less than a year, but she's really focused in on first green days, and she knows this setup really, really well. And there's a lot of value on her channel. So this is an example of a trade that I took as a result of her reminding me that this stock was in play. So this bounce day here was what I was looking for, and this sort of. Okay, so normally in the past, if you go back and watch my previous videos, what was happening was this level, the previous day's low and day would just hold. And if this level broke, you just cut the trade instantly. But now what they do, not always, but sometimes, first green days are well tricky now, but often what they do is they break a little bit and then reclaim. They have this like a liquid sort of break and then they reclaim. And this did that, but it also did that around the round number of 10, so it's sort of an extra box to tick really in terms of conviction. So I actually came to the computer a little bit late on this morning, and so I couldn't get full size on it because the spread was quite wide. So I ended up getting in at like 10.50, which it did go up to 18. So that isn't the worst chase in the world, but if I could have got in on this break on the reclaimer closer to 10, I would have taken full size because it is 10.50. But what if there's, if I'm risking off this low here, or even the reclaim here and there's slippage and all of a sudden I'm down 10%, So I couldn't really take the size that I wanted, but I just sold it all into this here and on that trade. So it was just a pre-market trade really. I didn't hold anything for the market open. I made a quick, let's see how much I made, 1,500 on that. I'm not going to lie, I was really annoyed because this is my bread and butter. When I see this sort of action, this is my ideal setup when it has this liquid break and then reclaims. I know this trade, I know this setup really well, and it's something that I want to take full size on when I get the opportunity to do that. But yeah, 1,500 on this one, and then on to the next one. Let's have a look. So this was my biggest trade of the month, of the year actually so far, GMPX. Hopefully that will change as I take more and more size. So GMPX, you can see here from the 3 minute chart, this is obviously the run up. This is the first red day, and this is the first green day bounce. So I played this day here, but let's start with the daily chart. Hope I'm not going too fast. I feel like there's enough of these first green days on my channel that, if you're watching them, I guess they will be making sense to you, I hope. If not, put a comment in the description below. So technically the day one, not really. This is the day one high volume. Finished up 232%. At this high, it was a lot more. Nice first red day. So regarding you want a big retracement. If this was like, you know, a 20% retracement, I'm not really looking for a first red day yet. I want a couple more, a first green day yet. I want a couple more red days, but this was a nice juicy minus 43% down on the day. So at that point, I'm looking for a bounce, and we can see here, look, what do you recognize about this? Okay, so here's the run up, first red day. This area here, what do you recognize? Okay, this is the previous day's lower day, but after hours, I was using this low as the support. So that's, you know, previous risk back in the day. A liquid break, reclaim. So I had a lot of conviction in this. They did a split. They've done a split. So I can't remember how much this was. This was like, I'm sure this was like 40 cents or something like that. I can't remember. So yeah, I started in here, took full size on it, and then just sold it all the way up. Did sell a bit into weakness here, and sold my best at, I think it was 62 cents or something like that. So this was a roughly 50% move, and yeah, I made 4,500 on that. And then some bad news came out. I think it was that they were going to do a split, and the stock absolutely tanked. So an example of well, firstly, you know, exactly what to look for on a first green day, but also why you have to be careful with your position sizing. No matter how convicted, you know, it's hard sometimes to stick to your position sizing when you've got that much, you know, this setup that well. But these stocks are sketchy. Sketchy stuff can happen. The only way you can sort of counteract that or mitigate that is with your position sizing. So even though I was out before this, it was still a good reminder to me. So on this one, like I say, $4,513 I made. So yeah, really pleased with that. And then what's this one I took? GSIT. And then a few days later, first green. I love first green days. I really understand this set well. GSIT. Right. Okay. So we can see here, huge day one, weird day two, because that's actually a day two continuation that's turned into a first red day. And then I'm going to play this as the first green day. Now, I don't think I got the size I wanted on this one either, but you can see here, what do you notice about this one? And what was the first one I showed you? The first one was GLTO. Do you notice anything the same? The first green day is off $10 as well. So that gave me extra conviction because these stocks behave the same way. So because GLTO reacted off 10, I was up for its first green day. I was presuming this one was going to do the same. So let's have a look. Day one move, day two continuation / first red day, first green day. I traded this really, my entry was great, my sales were really bad. But we can see here again, look, here's support of 10. What do we see here? Very slight break. So I got in pretty close to 10. I just put a stop loss when the market opened just below that at like 985 or something like that, or 980, I can't remember. Might have been 989, 1 cent below, because I thought if it breaks, it breaks. The market opened, I could see when it had a little pull. You see this little, when this candle came down here, it had a little pull. And then I just started loading up. I added to my position, but then my price target was here. It was based on, what was it based off? I think around there, off that. I can't remember why I put price target there. 30% off 13, yeah, because they've been running roughly, a lot of these about 30% at the minute, so probably that's why I did it, which is pretty low compared to, they used to run 50, 75, 100 used to break out. So now they're they're a lot weaker, to be honest with you. But when it had that little pull, I added to my position, and then it just sold really badly. This I should have made a lot more on this. I think I made let's have a look. 2,169. But yeah, should have been a lot more on that one. I was away from the computer for Buru, which had a very, very nice first green day. We can have a quick look at that. So it had this massive run up here, and then it had its first green day pre-market, was it? Let's have a look. Yeah, here. So this was its run up. See this run up here, huge multi-day run up, really juicy. Its retrace wasn't very clean because it had these like big bounces, and these kind of they affect first green days because that's what you're essentially looking for, is a bounce. But it did have a nice first green day pop here, and that's a nice 50%. And on this occasion, the bigger float, it didn't break previous day's lower day. It just held it absolutely perfectly. But like I say, I was away from the computer, or else I would have for sure been taking that. But yeah, that's one that kind of got away from me, so it is what it is. So just a couple more to go over. This one was the heartbreaker. So this WGRX, I was looking for a first green day on this, so a decent day one, up about 185%. It closed up about 185%. It did. It was at one point quite a bit higher than that. And then it had this nice drop here, and I kind of looked for a first green day on this day because which day was it? I think a little bit of FOMO. So this is its first red day, is this day. And then what did I try? I can't quite remember what I did. Yeah, I tried it on this day for sure. Yeah, that was it. I thought it was going to hold this level here. You can see here. So that's its first red day. This is its run up. I thought it was going to hold this level here. I've got too many lines on this, sorry. Pre-market, I thought, and it did just slightly break with a liquid action. So I thought, okay, this is potentially following what I know it to be doing. But then it just dropped, and I took a full size loss on that. Well, not full size. I did well to cut it as quickly as I did. But yeah, I decided that I wanted to retack it the next day because it was putting in this really nice base, and obviously the further it drops, the better the risk to reward. In hindsight, I probably shouldn't have taken it this day because it already had a 75 to 25, I don't know, what's that, 25% bounce or something, 30% bounce, I'm not sure, 28% bounce here. So that's kind of going to affect things, to be honest with you. So I probably got overly convicted on this one. But this day, it put in this base, it gapped up, I came down, I loaded up here. When it came down, but then I could see it was weak and I just cut. So I took another loss on this. And then what do you know, the next day, so I took 2 losses on that. And the next day, I just said, look, I can't, even though it dropped more and hypothetically the risk to reward ratio is getting better, at some point, you kind of got to say, look, I can't, what if it drops again and again? So they don't have to bounce. So I don't have a rule that twice is all I'll try, but I respect it when people do. And I, on this occasion, decided not to. If I had, so I wasn't even watching it. If I had been watching it, because like I said, I just had enough of it. If I had been watching it, I probably would have taken some here when it reclaimed this previous day's low of day. So I would have probably got in around 61, 62. But yeah, it is what it is. I lost, I think overall on that one, I ended up losing 600, about 1,300 on that stock. Yeah, about 1,300 on that stock. So yeah, it is what it is. You know, if I had nailed this, you know, it'd have been on for, and given that I was trading these first green days so well, I was taking size, and I probably would have hopefully stuck to my plan. That would have been on for somewhere between 5,000 and 7,000. So 1,300 loss, is that what it is? 1,400 loss is you know, it is what it is. It's acceptable to me. But like I say, finishing the month, I finished the month up around 7,000, slightly under that, but yeah, very pleased nonetheless. The market at the minute is just absolutely dead. So let's see. Hopefully we get some more runners in and some more volatility, and there'll be some more trades to take. But in the meantime, best thing to do is just sit on your hands. Okay, cool. Hope there is some value in this for you. I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.